Singapore happens to be one of my favorite countries in the world.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Fantastic. So whenever I have the opportunity to talk about, stuff like this, I always chip in Singapore. So my question to you is, what are some of the things that the United States can learn from a country like Singapore?
I think the United States can learn that that's a complicated question. But I think one of the things they can learn is that how cleanliness and order can be good for business. It's complicated because even New York, even New York City, I think it's like 5 times bigger than the entirety of Singapore.
I should think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you're thinking of like I'm trying to for instance enforce those sanitation laws, you can't even spit, blah 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 blah. It seems almost impossible to do that in New York. On top of given the size, on top of the fact that there's so many other more serious crimes going on. So then it's like, okay, we'll get tougher on crime, but that's happening in the U.S. now, and it's not working as idolized, in terms of police state and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but when you talk of the size of New York City and the United States, and we compare it to, let's say, the size of China.
Yes,
China is bigger than the United States because they've got like 1 billion people over there, but yet they've been able to, use some of the strategies that Singapore uses or is using.
Yeah,
and they have replicated that in China, and it's working for that.
China is a complicated case because it's an authoritarian state, but at the same time, you rarely hear of anybody trying to flee. Yeah. Like even back in the days when they had those Hong Kong protests, and right before COVID, and the government was like, all right, enough is enough. The leaders of the protest, they was like, okay, cool, we're going to stop. They did, but the U.S., they'll be like, nah, yeah. So I don't, Asia is different, and the ideologies upon which the United States were founded, as enshrined in the Constitution and stuff like that, is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do Americans think of Singapore? What does the average American think of Singapore?
Yeah, I don't remember Singapore. I think the average American wouldn't even know much specific about Singapore.
Really?
Yeah. Because when I was growing up, the only time Singapore was in the news was when that white boy went over there and wrote graffiti and yeah. That's the only time I remember Singapore being in the news. But these days, I don't know how people wouldn't have any practical knowledge of Singapore. Yeah, on what basis? Unless maybe they do some TV show that hits or something like that. You hear Singapore, in the back of your mind is a country in Asia.
So what is something you admire about Singapore?
Something I admire about Singapore is how the government is so invested in providing housing for the people.
Okay, which is lacking in the United States.
Yes, homelessness is virtually non-existent there because of the government's intervention and keeping the people housed. That's very admirable.